When it comes to growing your business, the industry that you're in is super, super important. So if your industry sucks and it's declining, that's not good. When you're looking at products, services, niches, and you want the top niches, the top products, the top services that are going to make you the most money, then I've got 6 rules for a king or queen's product, niche, industry, whatever it might be, right? So hey, I'm Chris Munch and welcome to DropServe, where we help you land more agency sales without having to do the actual client work. Number 1 is it needs to be higher value, right? The more that you're charging for the product or service in that industry or the product or service itself, the more profits you can make. It's really that simple. If you're selling something for $1, you have to sell a huge amount. If it's $10,000, it's going to be a lot easier. Selling expensive things makes things easier. The audience might be smaller, but the value of it more than makes up for it. And at the end of the day, there's people spending $10, but they're also going out and buying a car, right, at the same time. So people have money to spend. You want to make sure you're tapping into that profits. And of course, you need demand. The higher the demand, the better. If it's something that nobody wants, then it's no good. But there's higher price things that people do want, right? And there's good demand for them, okay? And so it's a balancing act, right? Typically, the cheaper something is, the more wide appeal it is, but there's still plenty of things which are higher price but still have great demand. Huge passion or burning problem, right? If it's something that they need to solve immediately, if it's painful, there's been an emergency that they need fixing, if they're locked out of their house and they need a locksmith, they're like, that's a burning problem. Well, there's things just people happen to be really passionate about. When that's the case, it's just easier to make the sale. People do repeat purchases, they're going to buy right away, okay, this sort of thing. And so just overall, you just find less resistant to actually getting sales and just more demand, more response to advertising, that sort of thing. So it just tends to be easier. So huge passion or burning problem is something that we want as well. Now, one here, which is a bit of a mystery, right, that people don't talk about, but I found extremely useful, is a large variety of product services problem. So in your industry as a whole, you want to have lots of different types of products or lots of different services or lots of problems that you solve. Even if it's an individual product and you're just trying to pick which product or service am I going to focus on, consider ones which have and solve a lot of problems and maybe can be described in a lot of different ways as something that's going to be easier. And here's the reason why. If you can come at it from a lot of different angles, right, and talk about it in a lot of different ways, okay, or you just have lots of different products or services, then it's going to be easier to get in front of people. So I'll give you an example, right? So, if you're in the supplements industry, you have tons of products out there already, right, that you can cover. So you already have a ton of options. But let's just say you were selling one single supplement. Well, that supplement can have all sorts of different ingredients. It can have all sorts of different side effects. It can have everything that it doesn't contain is an angle that you can go about it. So for example, let's say you're trying to write a blog post. You can talk about what it doesn't contain, which is bad for you. And people might be looking that stuff up. There might be demand to solve that particular problem, right? It might be solving a certain condition, right, which you didn't think about. Okay, and so the more different problems that it solves, okay, or just in general, the amount of products or services that you have, it gives you so many more options to bring people through the front door and to try different marketing strategies. And this is often overlooked because people don't think about that this is actually going to allow them to sidestep competition, okay? And if you can find a way to sidestep competition, things are going to be a lot easier. So number 5 is low competition, right? So if the competition is incredibly fierce, then you just can't compete because you can't spend enough money to be able to beat the competition. They're always ahead of you in some way, and you're just fighting and reducing each other's margins. And so in a high competition environment, profits tend to shrink. And so you want to have the least competition possible, okay? And then also you want to be in a high growth industry. So if the industry is growing, you're just going to naturally ride that wave of growth, okay? And then things are just going to be way, way easier for you. So when it comes to it, the 6 rules for a winning king or queen's niche or industry or even product type or service, right? It can be down to the individual product itself. If you hit all 6 of these, right, it's an explosion waiting to happen, but it's pretty hard to hit all 6. But if you can get at least 4 of them, you're in good shape.